Hello guys, I am Vishali Kikan. We are moving to the next unit where we are going to discuss about the periodic table. So first of all, we are going to talk about the groups in the periodic table. What are the group? Group are the vertical columns in the periodic table. Whereas periods, what are the periods? Periods are the horizontal rows in the periodic table. Now here in the periodic table you can see some yellow boxes which represents metals, the pink boxes represents non-metals, and the green boxes represents the metalloids which have the property in between metals and non-metals. After that, the atoms which are represented with black are solids, whereas which are represented in red are liquid, or in blue which are gases. So this is how we have the periodic table. Now coming to the long form of periodic table. In the long form of periodic table, we have various type of divisions in the periodic table. Like we have the alkali metals here. This block is for hydrogen. Then here this block is for lanthanoids. All of the atoms present here are termed as lanthanoids. Here these all atoms which are present in this block are actinoids. These are starting from an atom which is actinium, and thus these are all of the atoms are referred as actinoids, right? Then here we have the transition elements, right? So the transition elements are denoting the transition from metal to non-metal. Here we have halogens. Halogens are fluorine, chlorine, right? So these bromine, these are all the halogens. Then we have the noble gases. The noble gases we have argon, right? So these are various argon, neon, right? These are examples of the noble gases which are at the rightmost end. Now coming to the atomic radii. What is the atomic radii? Atomic radii describes the size of an atom, right? How big the atom is, it is denoted by atomic radii. If I have a bigger atom, for the bigger atom I will be having the larger atomic radii. The atomic radii is equal to the half of internuclear distance, right? So you can see this is the chlorine molecule. In the chlorine molecule we have the two chlorine atoms, and what we see the internuclear distance, right? So this is the first nucleus, this is the second nucleus. We see the distance between these two, and what we do, we take half of it, that is the atomic radius of chlorine. Now if I see in the periodic table, it is atomic radius is going to increase down the group, right? And it is going to decrease across a period. Why it is going to decrease across a period? Because we will be having more attraction forces because of larger number of protons in the nucleus, and it is going to increase down the group because we have a bigger and bigger atom as we move down the group. Right, now coming to the ionic radii. Ionic radii can also be found out for the positive ions and the negative ion. If I see any positive ions, right, in the case of alkali metals, we can see the ionic radii, and it is going to become smaller than the atomic radii. If I remove an electron, the atom will become smaller because the positive protons are going to increase the positive attraction forces on the outer electrons, and the atomic radii will be reduced. So ionic radii is reduced for the positive ions, then the atomic radii. In the case of negative ions, it is going to become larger because now I have more number of electrons. There would be greater repulsion forces between all of the electrons, and they are going to tend to become more spreaded, right? And in the case of halogens, we can understand the ionic radii is greater than the atomic radii. Now coming to the division of periodic table in the different blocks. How we divide the periodic table in the different blocks. So first of all, what I am going to do, I am going to take the group number. So group number, I have to see the valence electrons. So valence electrons is equal to the group number. So if I see the group number 1, the valence electron would be 1. If I see the group number 2, the valence electron would be 2. If I see the group number 13, the valence electrons would be 3. So I always I can say the group number is related to the valence electron, and now based upon the valence electron, the period can be found out. So now the period number is related to the number of shells in an atom. How many shells are there, right? If I have more number of shells, the period number would be larger. So in the periodic table, what we have the different blocks according to the highest energy subshell occupied by the electron, right? So s blocks will be having all elements in the outer shell configuration in ns1 or ns2. So if I see any atoms in the s block, it will be having the configuration, let's suppose 2s1 or 2s2, 3s1 or 3s2, 4s1 or 4s2. So in this manner I have the s block, right? In the p block, the p subshell is filled, right? So I can have 2p1, 2p2 up to 2p6, 3p1, 3p2 up to 3p6. Now then we have the d block where the d subshell is filled, right? So in this manner we can have the division of periodic table into the form of blocks. Now coming to the variation of first ionization energy down the group. So what is the first ionization energy? First ionization energy is the energy required to remove the outermost highest energy electron from the atom, right? So down any group, if I move down the group, the first ionization energy is going to decrease. Why it is going to decrease? Because the size of atom is going to increase. Now it will be having more and more number of subshells and the size is going to increase. When the size of atom is increased, we will be having the decreased attraction for the outer electrons and we will be having the decreased ionization energy. Right, now coming to the variation of the first ionization energy across the period. Right, how the ionization energy is going to vary across the period. So first ionization energy increases from left to right across a period. How it is going to increase left to right? Because of increase in nuclear charge and thus the attractive force increases across the period. So now the outermost electron is now more tightly held to the nucleus and we require larger energy to remove this outermost electron, and in this manner the first ionization energy increases from left to right across a period. Now coming to the next term, which is called the electron affinity. The electron affinity is the change in energy when one electron is added to a gaseous atom. So if I have the gaseous atom X, which is a gaseous atom, what I want to do, I want to add an electron and I will be making the X negative again in the gaseous form. So I will be observing the change in energy from this state to this state, and that is my electron affinity. Coming to the variation of electron affinity down the group 17. If I observe the group 17, now here you can see electron affinity generally it is going to decrease down the group. Why it is going to decrease down the group? Because the size is going to increase, right? So atom size, we all know it is going to increase when we go down the group. So now chlorine, here is the most exothermic value for electron affinity, whereas I can see the fluorine is the smallest atom. But in the case of fluorine, we have lesser exothermic reaction and we have less exothermic energy due to the smaller size of fluorine. Size of fluorine is that small that the electrons are having more repulsive forces on each other, and due to which exothermic energy decreases in the case of fluorine, whereas the chlorine will be most exothermic. So size of chlorine is although bigger than the fluorine, but we have an exception over here. So when the electron is brought to the outer shell, as the atom gets bigger, attraction is weaker. So in the case of iodine, iodine is the biggest atom in the group 17 and the attraction would be weaker between the added electron and the nucleus in the case of iodine. Whereas if I see chlorine, the attraction forces will be higher because the size of chlorine is smaller as compared to the iodine. Coming to the variation of electron affinity across a period. So if I see across a period, the electron affinity becomes more exothermic. So if I move right, the reaction would be more exothermic. Why? We have the increase in the nuclear charge and decrease in the atomic radius from left to right. So in this manner, if I put any electron in this atom, there will be a bigger change in the energy if I move to the right side, right? Now coming to the electronegativity. What is the electronegativity? Is the measure of attraction of atoms in a molecule for the electron pair in the covalent bond of which it is a part. So we have the pair of electrons in the covalent bond, right? So let's suppose we have two two atoms over here, and these are sharing 2 electrons, right? So how much this atom's nucleus is going to attract these covalent bond, and how much this atom's nucleus is going to attract these electrons is going to tell me what is the electronegativity. So if, let's suppose, this is atom A, this is atom B, if the atom A is more electronegative, these electrons are going to shift towards the electron A, right? If it is less electronegative, this will shift towards the atom B. So in this manner, we can find out what is the electronegativity. It is going to decrease down a group because the size of the atom is going to increase, and the outermost electrons will be having less attraction towards the nucleus. It is going to increase across a period, obviously, because size is decreasing across a period. So I hope you understood all of the things that I have discussed. Thank you so much.